officer here at AgeSmart. I have been here for 20 years. But I'm taking a new position on that. I want to welcome you to the third of our speaker series on Senior Medicare Patrol and Fraud. Our next presentation will be June 10th, same time, same place. It will be Medicare 101. And that's for anybody who has Medicare, anybody who may be new to Medicare, anybody who's thinking about retiring and needs to learn about Medicare. That would be the presentation for them. The one after that will be June 24th. It is on veterans benefits. We have Brad Leviti from the Madison County Veterans Assistance Commission coming in to talk about what veterans benefits are out there, what it takes to qualify for them, and how you apply on that. I would also like to introduce from Ameren, Warm Neighbors, Cool Friends, to talk a little bit about their program.
And I'm supposed to stand in between here and there. Perfect. I'm actually not from Ameren. I am the executive director of the Energy Assistance Foundation. We are a not-for-profit that was established in 1982 by Illinois Power. And this green map is all the territory that I cover. And what we do, this year we were given an extra $2 million to help moderate income customers with their bills. And Ameren, Missouri was given $2 million and we were given $2 million. So we are trying to reach people who make too much to qualify for the low income program, which is LIHEAP, stands for Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program through the state and federal government. So as an example, if your 30-day gross household income for one person is between $33.33 and $47.13, you would qualify for our program. And what we do is we match anything you've paid in the last 90 days up to $500. And so you can, in St. Clair County, our agency is the Urban League. But if you want to, I'm going to have a legal pad over there. If you write down your name and your phone number, I can call you in the next couple days. I can look, if you have your Ameren account, all I need is the name exactly that's on your account. You'd be amazed how many people don't know the exact name on their account and their account number, and I can look it up, see anything you've paid, and then I can make a pledge on your account. So for two in the home, if your 30-day income is between $43.58 and $53.83, but then families that have two kids, it's $64.08 to $8,037. So it's moderate income customers, and with the Ameren bills, of course, they know everybody could use a little bit of help. So it's any age, but I'm especially sensitive to seniors who don't. A lot of times they feel like it might be a scam. They feel like somebody needs it worse than they do. They feel like, oh, I'm getting by. They were raised to believe you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So I'm going to just sit over here. I want to hear this also. And if you have any questions, but all I need is your name and your phone number, I'll give you a call, and we'll see if we can't help you on your Ameren bill. And we're able to help in the heating season, which is October 1st to May 31st, and then cooling starts June 1st. So if I call quick, then you could get help from heating, and you could get more money in the summer. So they just announced the rates are going up for the summer. So I'm here to say it's not too good to be true. It's really true, and so that is good news. So.
And if you haven't paid $500 in the last 3 months, I want your bill.
But if you haven't paid $500 in the last 3 months, you can make another payment, and then I can match everything that you've had. So it is a great deal. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Valuable service. Okay, and on with the show. We have Missy Schmidke here. She is our Information and Assistance Supervisor here at AgeSmart, also a SHIP counselor, and our lead for the Senior Medicare Patrol program.
Well, yeah, I wear a lot of hats. So just out of curiosity, how many of you have gotten a scam call in the last 24 hours? So I got my phone kind of as an example because the group was going to be smaller, so I won't hold it up. I stopped deleting the voicemails that these scammers left me 2 months ago. 2 months. I have 125 voicemails. Oh my God. They're all scam. It was either IRS or it was somebody who we talked to. We got your application for your personal loan. I apparently can take anywhere from $30,000 up to $70,000 out, and I've never applied for a personal loan. And like I said, 2 months, and I haven't let all of them leave voicemail messages, and I block every single one that comes through. So when I say 125 people, that is 125 different 1888 numbers. So we'll talk about not answering the phone as we go through this.
Except that my number is
Okay.
888, so
But listen to the voicemail.
Mine is not the scale.
But listen to the voicemail. That's very important. Let it go to voicemail.
A lot of times it doesn't go to voicemail.
Well, if it doesn't go to voicemail, then it probably is a scam, and they're just hanging up. But a lot of these scammers are leaving voicemails now. Call me back at this number, or press 1 for this, and you pick up that phone, and it's on. So be very diligent about who you're answering the phone for.
It'll say Susan Sam.
Well, there you go.
Just like Sam's Club.
Okay. So we are going to talk about preventing Medicare fraud and other scams. Can anybody give me a guess as to how much you think is lost to Medicare fraud every year? Just a guess.
Billions.
How many billions?
180.
You're a little high, but we're going to hope it doesn't get to that
Well,
point.
they're not checking the fraud yet, so it'll be
An
more.
estimated $60 billion a year is lost to Medicare fraud. $60 billion. How many of you are on Medicare? And your premiums went up about $20 a month?
Yeah.
It is directly related to Medicare fraud. That is a big portion of it. Now, insurance is going up all around, but when they have to pay out these fraudulent claims, it jacks the rates up. So it's really important to be diligent about Medicare fraud, and we're going to talk about why. So there are a lot of types of Medicare fraud that are frequent in Illinois, and we're just going to start out with Medicare fraud, and then we'll go beyond that. If I'm not loud enough, tell me, just somebody give me a thumbs up and tell me to talk louder. Usually isn't a problem for me, but so I want to emphasize the difference between fraud and error. So fraud happens every day, but we also have humans that are entering this data. Sometimes it's billing errors that they just code in incorrectly. So they always want you to call the provider first. So say I get a bill from my doctors. I'm going to use my mom as an example. I hope she doesn't watch this video at some point. So my mom got a bill for a colonoscopy. They had put it down as a diagnostic colonoscopy, and Medicare denied it. So we had to go back to the provider, and she was like, I owe $900. I don't have $900. She was losing it. I was like, Mom, let's call your doctor. So we called the doctor, and we said, I think you made an error on the coding. And they looked at it and said, yes, we did. They resubmitted it. Medicare covered it 100%. So sometimes it's just an error. But then there is genuine fraud. SMP, the Senior Medicare Patrol, focuses on a broad range of fraud. But like I said, we're going to highlight a couple types. One of the biggest ones that you're going to see with Medicare is durable medical equipment. Durable medical equipment can be anything from wheelchairs to orthotic inserts to canes, knee braces. It covers a lot of different things. So with durable medical equipment, Part B will cover any medically necessary piece of equipment for you. It has to be ordered by a healthcare provider, and it has to be for everyday use. The typical durable medical equipment scams involve back braces, knee braces, walkers, canes, oxygen tanks, and a lot more. Medicare goes through thousands of claims every day. I mean, they're coming from, it's federal programs coming from all over the country. So it can, again, be human error, but it can also be fraud. I had someone come in within the last couple of months. She looked at her Medicare Summary Notice and said, I got billed for a knee brace. I don't need a knee brace. I got billed for a knee brace twice, one day after another. Luckily, Medicare caught it and denied the claim, but she would have been responsible had they not. And if she needed a knee brace down the road, Medicare already paid for one. If they had approved that claim, they wouldn't give her one. So it's important to look at your Medicare Summary Notices. How the scam works. Beneficiary sometimes receives a call from a fraudster. We just talked about scam calls, claiming to be from Medicare. The fraudster offers you a free knee brace in exchange for your Medicare number from the beneficiary. If it's free, why do you need my Medicare number?
Yeah.
Then they sell the information to a durable medical equipment company who pays a doctor to sign off on the brace prescription. So these knee braces that she had been supposedly prescribed, it was a provider in Tennessee. She lives in Caseyville. She's like, I've never been to Tennessee. I don't know how they got my information. And a few months later, you would receive a charge ranging from anywhere from $500 to $10,000. And again, if you receive that brace and Medicare denies it, you're on the hook if you don't catch it and report it. The other big one is genetic testing. Has anybody heard anything about genetic testing scams? A lot of times, this one happens at health fairs. Come on, don't quit on me now. It's still flashing, honey. It's just not working. Okay, so battery maybe? There we go. So genetic testing fraud happens when Medicare is billed for a test that wasn't medically necessary. Scammers offering Medicare beneficiaries cheek swabs for genetic testing, sometimes at senior fairs, sometimes through the mail. They bill Medicare thousands of dollars for these genetic testings, from $5,000 to $25,000 for these unnecessary tests. They'll tell you it's cancer screenings or something along those lines. Come on.
So couldn't they
I
be,
think she's worn out.
It doesn't want me to. Thank you.
couldn't they be, criminally liable for mail fraud then, if they do it through the mail?
If you can get caught, yes. If they get caught. There we go. So how that scam works. Typically it's you attend a health fair or presentation where people offer free genetic testing, then they take your Medicare number. Again, protect that Medicare number, because if it's free, they shouldn't need it. What the business will do next is charge your Medicare account for the genetic testing services, and you may or may not receive your test results, but if you read your Medicare Summary Notice, you'll see that Medicare was charged a large amount of money, and they don't always approve it, because if it's not medically necessary, they're not going to approve it. So be real careful about that as well. So the Senior Medicare Patrol, they are about preventing, detecting, and reporting. Don't give your Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security numbers to someone you don't know. Never give those numbers to someone who calls on the phone or comes to the door. We were talking about that before. Trustworthy healthcare providers will not sell their services by calling on the phone or coming to the door. Telephone and door-to-door marketing are often a sign of fraud. If a caller or visitor tries to threaten or pressure you into something, hang up the phone or shut the door. I grew up in a generation that, and so did all of you, where you answered the phone. Somebody called, you pick up the phone, because we didn't have voicemail. Most of us didn't have answering machines. The phone rang on the wall, you picked it up and answered it. It's still kind of honed in to do that now. It rings, you pick it up. My mom has hung up with me to answer a call, and when I asked her, who's calling, Mom, she goes, I don't know. It's a 1-800 number. Mom, you're hanging up with me to pick up for a scam call. You don't have to answer that phone. Don't give anyone your Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security numbers in exchange for free services. If the service is free, they should not need your number. Now, if you know the person who's calling or you have called the person, we do applications here over the phone that require a Social Security number. If you called AgeSmart, you know who you called. If you called me, and my number pops up and I say, this is Missy, I'm never going to call and say, I need your Social Security number. I'm going to tell you who I am and where I'm calling from, and that you had called and left a message for me about this. I still have people that are like, I don't want to give you that number over the phone. Great, let's make an appointment and have you come in. That is someone who's trustworthy. If they say, oh no, you have to give me that Social Security number right now or we can't do this application, well, okay, we're not going to do this application. Don't accept healthcare services or equipment that you don't need. If someone offers you services or equipment you don't need and asks for your Medicare or Medicaid number, they're going to be billing Medicare or Medicaid fraudulently for those services. Talk to your doctor if you need something, if you need any kind of healthcare services or supplies. So the way that Medicare works with durable medical equipment is it has to be ordered by a doctor. So they are paying these, like we said before, they're paying these doctors to write these prescriptions to these fraudulent durable medical equipment suppliers. If you need something, if I need a knee brace or an ankle brace, Some of you know I've had surgery on that ankle multiple times. If I need an ankle brace, I'm going to my doctor. He's going to order it through my insurance, get it approved, and then I get it for whatever that negotiated rate is. If I do this, it could get denied and I'm going to be on the hook for that price, or if I need it down the road, I'm not going to be able to get one. So then let's talk about other types of scams. So financial exploitation. Financial exploitation means the use of an adult 60 plus, or if you're 18 to 59 with a disability, finances by another to the disadvantage of that adult or profit of a person other than that adult. Things like stolen money or property, misuse of a credit card, inappropriate use of resources, unpaid bills when the income is adequate, overcharging for services rendered, or withholding money. We don't like to think about the fact that these things happen, but we don't always have people that are trustworthy that come into our homes, especially if they ask to come into our homes and they've knocked on the door. If I have my purse sitting out, it's real easy for somebody to grab that credit card out of it if I'm not paying attention. And then they use it, and it's not for something that I wanted. Sometimes you have family members or close friends that aren't as trustworthy as they should be. We hope that they are, but I mean, families are complicated, and you sometimes have people that will come in and they will misuse your money. They take your resources. I had someone who called, and I had to report to Adult Protective Services because the child had power of attorney and had sold the parent's house because they had financial power of attorney. They had gone into like a rehab facility. They weren't necessarily, mentally they were all still there, but somehow they got a doctor to sign off that they weren't competent and they sold their home. So it's important too that if you're assigning someone as a power of attorney for medical or financial, you make sure it is someone you trust with everything. Unpaid bills when the income's adequate. If I have someone paying bills for me, I want to double check that they're actually paying those bills. As long as you're able, I would not suggest turning that over to someone else. Pay those bills yourself. You know they've been paid. Check the accounts. Most everywhere you have now, you can check online and make sure that that bill's been paid. Overcharging for services rendered. Who had roof or siding damage with the storm last year? Oh my gosh, I just got new siding. I'm so happy I don't have duct tape on my house anymore. But there were a lot of roofers and siding people that were knocking on doors. A lot of them were absolutely reputable. Some of them were not. You heard horror stories about people giving them $3,000 and then you couldn't get them on the phone again. Or they will tap seniors and say, you need your driveway report. It's going to cost $10,000 when it really should cost $2,000. It's important to get estimates from multiple sources and don't just trust that person that knocks on your door. Withholding money. If I have someone who's a signer on my account and all of a sudden I can't get to my money, that's a real problem. Those are all things that need to be reported. It's financial exploitation. So where can you report those things? Adult Protective Services. Financial exploitation is one of the types of things that you can report to Adult Protective Services. It's not just about physical abuse, it's financial abuse, it's self-neglect. There are multiple things that they can investigate. So, and there's also, if someone is in a long-term care facility, there's the Regional Ombudsman program. The Ombudsman can intervene in between like that resident and the facility if there's an issue. Yes?
When you were talking about roofing and siding, are there sources you can go to if you are looking at someone to do work on your house, and you can say what's their reputation?
I would suggest the Better Business Bureau because they're going to give them ratings, and if they're not in the Better Business Bureau system, if they're that small, you can also ask friends and neighbors. A lot of times the communities, if you're on Facebook at all, have community pages. Hey, I have this company, and you can get reviews from people that you know or that are close to you. I know a lot of them popped up this last year. I've seen more trucks for different roofing companies I had never heard of. But yeah, Better Business Bureau would be my first stop. Okay, so other scams and fraud. $12.5 billion was lost to scams and fraud in 2024. $12.5 billion. The amount of money lost through fraud increases with age as older people, not that we're more gullible, because I'm putting myself in that range too, not that we're more gullible, we have more resources. So when I was in my 20s, I mean, I can remember going to the grocery store and having $64 for a week and going, okay, this is how much I have to spend, what can I buy that I can eat? Not in that same financial position in my mid-50s, so we have more money that they can scam. What's a scam? Social Security impersonation scams. The scammers and fraudsters do this by getting you to reveal your personal details. They'll steal your private information, or they'll get you to willingly hand over cash. So Social Security impersonation scams, IRS impersonation scams, identity theft, romance scams, grandparent scams, sweepstakes scams, and debt scams. We're going to talk about all these individually, because unfortunately, I have a story for every one of them. Social Security scams. Social Security is never going to call you. I'm telling you that right now. Unless you have set up a phone appointment for them to call you, they are not just going to out of the blue call you and say, your Social Security number has been compromised, so we need to get you a new one. It's not going to happen. IRS impersonation scams, and we were talking about this when there were just a few of us in the room. A few years back, I was getting daily calls, probably 4 times a day, from the IRS telling me that I owed them money, and they were going to send the local cops, their words on the voicemail, the local cops to my house. Little did they know, I was married to an O'Fallon police officer. He's retired now, but at the time, he's standing right there. So when I answered the last call, I said, the local cops are here. Would you like to talk to him? And he got on the phone and said, this is Lieutenant Schmidke. What's your name? What company are you calling from? And they hung up really fast. And I stopped getting those calls. But they wanted their money right now. If the IRS, if you owe them money, because that's happened to me too, if you owe the IRS money, if something happens with your tax return, they send it to you in the mail, and then they wait for you. And if they will send treasury agents, and we didn't know that much, but if they have to, they would send treasury agents out. They're not going to call you and say, you owe us this money, you have to give us your credit card over the phone. It's going to be by mail. Identity theft, unfortunately, is happening more and more. People get Social Security numbers or Medicare numbers. They get into these big systems. Not only it feels like I get a letter once a month from some agency saying that my information's been compromised. HSHS, BJC, the IRS, Department of Defense. I think I have a FOID card, so maybe that's how. AT&T, I mean, that was a big one. So they have all gotten hacked, and my information's been compromised, and we'll give you a year free credit, screening. Okay, well, I should be good until I'm in my 80s, because I constantly am getting these letters. So identity theft is a real problem. The romance scams. Have you heard about the romance scams? So somebody contacts you online, you're talking to them, chatting with them. It could be through an app, it could be via email, and it's not a real person. I have a relative, I have a relative who fell for this. She was chatting with someone on Tinder, and he was on an offshore oil rig in the North Sea off of Ireland. I didn't even know they drilled for oil there, but okay. And he had a check that he couldn't get to his local bank. And can you deposit this check for me, and then transfer the money into my account? Well, then he had her. So he got into her account, cleaned her out. Problem was, she was also a signer on 3 other relatives' accounts, so he got into those accounts as well. It ended up having to shut down accounts, switch to different banks, changing Social Security direct deposit. I mean, it was a whole process. I didn't find out about it. They know I do this. I didn't find out about it until about 3 weeks after it happened, when I was at one of the relatives that was kind of on the outside of this, and it had happened. They had gotten into her account, and I said, did you file a police report? No. Why? Well, I'm so embarrassed. Get your purse, get your shoes. We're going to the police department. You need to have a police report. We'll talk about that later too. Have a police report, because identity theft, when it happens, you want to be able to prove that you have reported that this happened in case it keeps coming back, because it can. Once they switch their accounts, luckily for them, nothing else happened. But if they get a hold of your account number, your Social Security number, next thing you know, you've got credit cards being opened in your name or loans taken out in your name. So it's important to make that police report if your identity is stolen. Grandparent scams. Grandma, I just got arrested. I'm in big trouble. I'm in Palm Beach on vacation, and I need you to post bail. Can you, Wells Fargo or Western Union, this money to the police department to post my bail? Absolutely, honey. I want you to stay in jail. No. call your parent, call the parents, call the kid. They all have cell phones now. Say, okay, I'll call you right back. Well, you can't call me right back because I'm in lockup. Okay, let me see what I can do. Or if they call you, go, Brian, I can't believe you got in trouble. Grandma, I'm really sorry. Oh, I don't have a grandson named Brian, so guess what, click. It's real easy to catch them in the lie. So just, hang up the phone, say, okay, it'll take me a little while, call the parents. Is he in Florida? No, he's in bed asleep. Okay, that's all I needed to know. Sweepstakes scams. Has anybody been contacted by the Nigerian prince? I have. Guess what? He doesn't exist. He is not going to give me $3 million if I send him $3,000 to pay the taxes on it. It is absolutely a sweepstakes scam. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. But boy, they get a hold of your email, and you'll get constant emails too. The filters are getting better on email, but I said I got 125 voicemails in the last 2 months. I'm on every no-call list there is. Federal, state, doesn't matter. They're still getting through. And the debt scams. If you owe someone money, they're not going to ask you to pay it by Visa or by, they're not going to ask you to go buy gift cards from Walgreens or take this money. They're not going to ask for that. So be cautious about the Illinois tollway. Has anybody? I got that text last week. I got that my registration was going to be extended last week. I got a text. Secretary of State's a pretty busy guy. He's not texting you. He's just not going to do it. And my husband, I love him to death. He's great. He's a retired police officer. He now works for the state's attorney's office. And I've told the girls this in the office that a couple months ago, we went to Wisconsin to see family. Well, if you leave the state of Illinois, you're paying a toll up north. So they don't have people at the toll booths anymore. They license plate reader, and they send you have to pay the toll within a certain amount of time. Well, I have an account set up with Illinois Tollway because we go see his family a lot. And they have my credit card on file. They had already taken the, $1.75 or whatever it was out of the account. He called me. He's like, we need to pay that toll. What are you talking about? And he said, well, we need to pay that toll. I just got a text. Please tell me you didn't go online or call them back because that's a scam, dear. We're good. They don't have your information. They have mine. So just be wary of those text messages too. So other scams. We talked about gift card and Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been huge lately where they want you to go to a Bitcoin ATM and send them money. Ameren, the pastor scam, or a government agency. So these Ameren scams have been coming up a lot, where you will see people go into Walgreens and they're buying hundreds of dollars worth of gift cards because Ameren said, I owe this money, I've got to pay them right now. Not with a gift card. You don't have to pay them with a gift card. The pastor scam, this actually, we did a presentation last year and someone brought this up to our attention that it had happened in Granite City. Somebody called them and pretended to be their church pastor and said, we have this person in our church that is really they're struggling. I need you to go get this much in gift cards and then, call me back with the phone, with the numbers. Okay, if you go to church and your pastor is going to ask you to help someone, typically they'll mention it in the service, or it'll be in a bulletin, or if they come to you directly, they're looking for clothes or, things like household goods because there was a fire. They're not going to call you, say, go buy these gift cards, and then call me back with the numbers. I need the numbers on the back. Well, guess what you just did? You gave them access to those gift cards, and your money's gone, and there's no getting it back because they've already spent them. Gas station skimmers. I'm sure you've heard about these on the news. All over the place. A good way to avoid the gas station skimmer, a lot of your credit cards and debit cards have the tap function now. Use the tap function. You don't have to insert that card anymore. Just tap it at the pump, and the skimmer doesn't work. Drive-thru, they should never take your card out of your sight. If you're a drive-thru, typically they'll hold it out the window and you tap your card or you slide it in. My husband is very much do not use your card at the drive-thru. You pay cash. Or if you order online, fine, but don't use your card at the drive-thru. Home repair after the storm damage we talked about. Jury duty. Yes?
Now you mentioned a drive-thru. Are you talking about a debit card or a credit card or both?
So, both. A lot of debit cards have.
What's the problem with a credit card?
So they can still, because they can still run your credit card through a skimmer. If they have, and I'm not saying it happens at every drive-through, but you have people that are not as trustworthy working everywhere.
But are you liable for that though, if it's a credit card?
It is easier, and we'll talk about that too. I use a credit card everywhere I go, and then I just pay it off. Reason for that is it is easier to contest things on a credit card than it is on a debit card. Debit card is your cash, that is your money. Once they get into that account, they can clean you out. If they get it on a credit card, you can say, okay, I mean, I've seen, I had to call my husband. I call my husband a lot for charges. We apparently spent $900 in Georgia on plumbing equipment. Sure. So I called him, I'm like, just making sure you didn't order something wonky that I'm not aware of. No. So I immediately called the bank because it was on a credit card. They flagged the last several transactions and said, okay, they went through them with me. Is this one correct? Is this one correct? Yes, it starts here. And then we were able to contest those charges. They took them off. It's a lot easier with a credit card than it is a debit card. Jury duty, they're going to notify you by mail. They're not going to call you up and say, we're going to arrest you if you don't, call us back right now. They're going to send you something in the mail saying it's your turn. Credit repair scam. Please don't. If you need help with credit, go to a reputable credit agency to help repair your credit. The AARP is a great resource for that. They will have reputable companies that you can contact. The phishing, it's all kind of the same thing. It's the email scams, and you get phishing emails all the time. I get them from Amazon a lot, and don't click that button when it says your source of payment has been rejected. Okay, go into your Amazon account, because I'm telling you, if something's been rejected, like my daughter overextended herself, tried to use a card, and it rejected the payment. I got an email saying this item is being rejected. I went into it, it had flagged the card. So it will tell you if it's actually true. But if they send you an email saying your payment source has been rejected, you need to click here to update it right now, go into the app. Never click on that link. Your account needs to be updated, same thing. It's the same type of thing. You always want to go into the actual account. If I get an email that says Ameren needs me to update my account, I'm going into Ameren, their website, with my login. I'm not going to click on whatever link's in that email. Special MasterCard or Visa scam. There is no special MasterCard or Visa. Just no. Free credit report scam. You can get a free credit report by going to the three big agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, right? TransUnion.
Yeah.
You can get your credit report from them, and it's free. I think you can do it once a year or once every so many months. Yeah, so just go there and take a look. Dumpster diving and stealing from mailboxes. So AgeSmart has a shred event at least once a year here. If you have to save a big box of stuff, anything with, I don't put anything in the recycle bin that hasn't been torn up or shredded. And it doesn't matter if it just has my address on it, because we get constant credit card, you're pre-approved, okay, rip, or it goes through the shredder. But that is one of the things that Senior Medicare Patrol sponsors here. We will pay for a shred truck to shred all of that information for you, and they will do it on site. You can watch it on a camera, because it's important. People will still grab trash cans and dump it all and go through it to see if they can find it. Those recycle bins are gold, because you're throwing all those old papers and things in there. So make sure that if it has any kind of personal information on it, you're blacking it out, or you're tearing it up, or you're shredding it in a shredder. So Social Security Administration will never call you to ask for your bank information or Social Security number. They're Social Security. They have your Social Security number. They don't need you to give it to them over the phone. And there's no reason for them to ask you for your bank information. If you have to change like a direct deposit, you can call them and do that over the phone, but you're calling them. Or you can go online and do that. They're not going to call you and say, I need your bank account number. Well, guess what? I'll be at the local office in the next 10 minutes. They'll never tell you your Social Security number has been suspended or demand an immediate payment. Doesn't happen. If you owe Social Security money, if they've given you too much and they want back, they're going to withdraw. They'll send you mail. They'll send you lengthy mail telling you this is how much you were overpaid, this is how much we're going to take out of each check. The IRS will never call to ask you for a credit or debit card number over the phone or threaten to send law enforcement to arrest you. They didn't arrest me, they won't arrest you. And never give out or confirm personal information, account numbers, social security numbers, mother's maiden name over the phone to someone you don't know. Okay, Mom, I hope you're not watching. My sister lives with my mom, and in the last few months, she heard her on the phone giving her social security number to someone, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And she grabbed the phone from her, and she was like, "Who is this?" And thankfully, it was someone from United Healthcare. It was somebody about her insurance, and they were trying to get her into a different plan, which is, she didn't really need to, but that's a whole nother story. The new plan is fine for her. But he said, "I'm this person, I'm an agent with United Healthcare, here's my number if you want to call back. Someone trustworthy is going to do that." He was trustworthy, so it was fine, but I mean, please don't give out your Medicare number or your social security number over the phone to someone you don't know. Review bank and credit statements and report any suspicious activity. So that, do you have apps? Who uses apps for their bank? It is a great thing. It really is. I know it's one more thing you have to get on your phone, and it's one more thing to keep track of, but then you don't have to wait a month to see what's at your account. I check mine every day. Because I've been hacked so many times with these credit cards, I'm constantly on there. There was an $8 charge to something, and I started to call the bank, and I was like, wait, called my husband. Of course, it was some kind of camera thing that he was paying for a subscription. Great, but I didn't know that. But I saw it right away just in case. So if your bank has the app, I would recommend getting it, just so that you can monitor a little closely.
Could I tie into that? I've had the experience where sometimes they put in a small amount. You said it was just
They do.
They'll test it with a small amount, and then, it went through, and then they'll send through something.
And that's why I thought it was suspicious because, and I told you I got a story for everything. Several years ago, we used a credit card to pay for my son's birthday party. I did it over the phone. My mistake. I should never have done it, but I did. And I think about a week later, I saw a charge on there, and it was $20 to somewhere in like Paris, France, and then it was another $20 to like somewhere in South Carolina, and then all of a sudden I donated $400 to Habitat for Humanity in New York. Well, I'm a generous person, but I had 2 little kids at the time, and I didn't have $400 to donate to Habitat for Humanity, so immediately called the bank. But you're right, they will test it with small amounts, and then if it goes through, then they'll try those bigger amounts. If I hadn't caught it when I did, who knows how much they'd tried to charge to that card. So that's why I say, if you have the capability, if you have a smartphone and your bank has the app, get the app so you can check your accounts regularly. Same thing with, we're going to go back to Medicare for a second, the Medicare Summary Notices. Please check those. If you have Advantage plans, they call them explanation of benefits. Now, if you don't have the Advantage plan, they call them Medicare Summary Notices. The Medicare Summary Notices, they used to send quarterly, now they're going to every 6 months. Explanation of benefits, I think, is still either once a month or once a quarter. Check that against what you actually had done, which is why in all of these folders, we put a personal health care journal. The personal health care journal can be like for your meds, it has your doctor information, and then every appointment you have or every procedure you have done, you can write in that book, this is the date, this is what I did. I'm not going to remember 3 months from now what I had done on March 8th. It's day to day. And if I have multiple doctors, it makes it even harder. So I can write that down, and then when notice comes, I can match up those dates and say, yep, I was charged for this, I was charged for this, and then wait a second, I didn't go to the doctor on March 12th. That should not be on there. Then I can report it so that I can get that off my charges. Yes?
Yes. Do they always charge on the date you had the procedure done?
So there are different dates on those summaries. You might have like a date that it was sent to you, but they should have the date of service should be on there. Yes.
Okay, because I just looked at mine, and I gotta be honest, I don't always look at it. I think I had, pardon, I'm a nurse, so my own, I'm very outspoken about my own physical things, so I'm going to mention the word catheter. I have had some catheterizations due to some procedures I've had done, and I on it, they had 5 charges for catheters. I these weren't the dates that I had these procedures. And I only had 4 that I can remember, 4 catheters done. So.
Was it same provider or was it different providers?
It was, it was hospital.
It was the hospital?
Providers.
Call the hospital.
So I think that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
These are not the dates, so I thought, do they bill on different
So
days?
when you're in the hospital, you have different providers that are providing different things. So I might have an anesthesiologist, and I might have a nurse anesthetist, and I might have the surgeon, and I might have the co-surgeon or the intern. So there might be several different people that are billing me. It should have the date that it was provided. It should on the billing. If it doesn't, I would absolutely call and check and say, okay, I only remember having this 4 times, and there were 5 on there, and the dates don't match up.
The
and you can ask them.
Didn't match up with when I had these procedures.
Yeah, you can ask them, because it may be that they got billed separately from the actual procedure, but I would still call and check it. I mean, the worst they're going to tell you is, yes, they're absolutely accurate. It was because you had the procedure and we had this many. Or they can say, no, we'll look into it further and make sure that it's not fraudulent. So yeah, definitely call in. If it looks like you need to question it, call and question it. If the doctor's offices get mad, too bad. We are the ones paying that bill, so we need to make sure that it's absolutely accurate. So yeah, I would call the hospital. Again, we talk about using precautions with your mail and trash. I don't think, because I still have a couple of places I have to write checks to. It's just the way that it is. I don't mail it from my own mailbox because nobody's there. I take it to the post office and put it in that mailbox. Just one more safe one.
You have to take
Yeah,
it aside.
yeah, because they can get to those because they'll sit. If you go past 4:15 in O'Fallon, they've already emptied it, and it's going to sit there until the next day at 4:15. So yeah, go inside and drop it. It takes 2 minutes, and it safeguards your information because checks are a big way that people are getting information again. That's why I've gone to paying a lot online. I never thought I would do it. I was that dinosaur that wrote checks for everything until probably about the last year. And now I think I have accounts online. For anybody that doesn't charge me the extra fee, that makes me mad. Yes?
The other thing about the post office is another thing. My friend told me she was going to the post office now to have her mail stamped because they're taking money out of cars and stuff. So the other day, I did that because I was singing to a graduation some money. And I asked them, I go, why are we having to do this? And because they put the stamp right directly over, they stamped it over my stamp. And they said because people are stealing stamps. Now, are they peeling them off?
They peel them off because they're not like, where you used to lick them and glue to it forever. They're stickers. So yeah, if they're careful, they can peel that stamp off and use it again.
So another thing that I did.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead.
It's been over an hour since I
You
left the house.
go ahead.
It's
I'm of an age. I get it.
Because I was mailing this check on the back where I licked it and glued it. I thought, well, maybe lots of times I'll put another sticker. But this time I put my return address sticker instead of just the funny sticker. It came back to me in the mail. So this morning, I went to the post office and I came in here to mail this, have it stamped and all this. It came back in my mailbox. And the first 2 guys didn't know if I did it. But one of the ladies goes, it's because when they ran your envelope through, they had it turned the other way, and it had my return address back in.
Interesting.
So
put it in the return address.
Don't put your return address on the
Gotcha.
back, only on the.
Gotcha. So, like we said, use precautions with your mail and your trash. And I heard somebody say it's trash day for me. Me too. Trash and recycling went out to the curb. There's nothing that hasn't been like torn in pieces, or I didn't throw something disgusting in that bag too. So you can get in there, but it's gonna be gross.
Yeah.
What I do, I don't have my junk mail. I also black out any QR codes.
Yeah.
Just because, like I say, you don't know.
Yeah.
I just black I go through everything. I just black out everything.
Yep. Safeguard your personal information. So your Medicare number, your birth date, your Social Security number, anything that they can use to open accounts or open loans or anything like that, you want to safeguard that. You want to keep it close to the vest and make sure that if you're giving that number out, you're giving it to somebody that you know.
What about old prescription bottles?
So
Do you just throw them away?
I peel the label off because they're usually stickers now. So I peel the label off my prescription bottles before I throw it in the recycle bin. If it's old prescriptions that still have stuff in it, you can take those to like a lot of the local police departments have drop off prescription boxes that you can take them to. Use a credit card rather than a debit card. We talked about that too because again, it is so much easier to. Oh, look at that. I could hear it buzzing. There's the scam call for this morning. They're starting early. So it's so much easier to challenge a credit card bill than it is to challenge that debit card bill and get money replaced, as opposed to they just deny the charge. And again, you have to do what you're comfortable with, but if you have that app and you catch it early enough while it's still a pending charge, they haven't paid it yet, so they can stop it before it even becomes a thing. Online IDs and passwords. I am so bad. If somebody gets a hold of like about 3 differentials of my password, you're going to have access to everything. It's really important to have different passwords for different things and change it up and change it often. Don't have the same password for your bank account that you had for 6 years. Go in every few months or every 6 months, and I know it's a pain to remember. I have them written down. I have a spreadsheet that I can change it on, but change those passwords because then if someone gets it somehow, I've changed it, they're not going to get back in. Keep an eye on your email with passwords because if you're starting to get a lot of those phishing emails, it means that somebody got a hold of your email address. It's not a bad idea to change that password just so that you know they're not able to get in and start sending emails from you. Online banking security questions. Make them something that no one else is going to know. Does anybody, and who's on Facebook? I'm on Facebook. Who does those quizzes on Facebook? Don't do the quizzes on Facebook. If they ask you, hey, name all the teachers from grade school, what is one of the security questions that they all ask? Who was your first grade teacher? You just gave somebody on Facebook answers to your security questions. So the security questions, you can change those up. If it asks, like say I'm signing up just for a website, random website, and they want my birth date, I use my sister's birth date and my birth year. If they want, my first concert, I'm just going to pick a random band. If they want my mother's maiden name, let's find another question because that's a lot of the security questions are mother's maiden name. That's public record. They could get into my mom's, she puts her maiden name on Facebook, so they could get it from there. So just be careful with the online banking security questions. Divulging personal information on the web, those Facebook questionnaires. I have a friend who works in IT, and one of the things that he is always telling everybody, he will get on Facebook going, thanks for all your info, now I can open, an account in your name. Shopping, banking, and paying bills online. Make sure it's a reputable site. Usually they'll have a little lock on the bottom corner, right corner, and it shows you that it's a protected site. If you're paying bills, don't go to where, because when you Google, say I Google AT&T, the first result is going to say sponsored. Go down a little bit further because then it's going to say AT&T official site. Yeah. Make sure you're going to the official site. Avoid online quizzes on social media and avoid clicking on links or answering calls from unknown sources. So again, 126 now that I have. No. If I don't know who's calling me, I'm not answering the phone. They'll leave me a message and I can call them back if it's something legit. We have an IT company that works for us here. Sorry, I'm going to start coughing. Called CTS. I didn't recognize the number, so I let it go to voicemail. Okay, CTS, so I called them back. Reporting a scam. So these are different places that you can report scams. These are in your folder because it's the one thing everybody likes to write down, and it's a lot. So if it's a Social Security impersonation scam, they have a direct line you can call about that. The IRS scam reporting hotline. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Those 3 all have hotlines. There's an identity theft information specialist, a national elder fraud hotline, and then there's a U.S. Senate Special Committee on Aging Fraud. Now, If you are a victim of identity theft or your information is compromised, you have people opening credit cards in your name, go to these 3 credit agencies and put a hold on your credit, a hold. You can always take that hold off. What it'll have you do is have a password and a username. You can go back in. You don't usually need this unless you're going to buy a car or take out a loan or get a new credit card. Then they have to run it through the credit agencies. You can go in and you can take that hold off, and they can run the credit history, and then you can put the hold right back on. So it's important to do that if you think your information's been compromised, because then anytime somebody tries to do that to you, they're going to get, nope, can't do it because there's a hold on my credit. Let's see. Taking action with identity theft. Always, always, always file a police report. I know it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when it happens to me, but it's something that's really important that you have that record, that this happened, so that if more comes up later, you have that on record. Contact your creditors. If I have credit cards through a certain agency, Capital One, or I have mine through my bank, I can call my bank and say, this is happening. Do I need to get a new card? Do I need to close that account? Do we need to open a new one? They'll let me know. File a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission and place a freeze on your credit with the credit agencies. Like I said, pretty simple to do. The Illinois SMP program can email fraud alerts every other Tuesday. You just have to go to their site and sign up for it. So you can register if you just Google Illinois SMP. It's going to take you to an agency called AgeOptions. AgeOptions is the Chicago AgeSmart. They're the area agency on aging there. They head Senior Medicare Patrol for the entire state. We do it for this area. So we kind of fall under their purview, but they will send out fraud-related articles, scams, and other helpful information. And we, in our newsletter every month, will have at least one article about something that Senior Medicare Patrol has sent us. We are always looking for volunteers with Senior Medicare Patrol. It's a key part of our program. You can do outreach events. Miss Carrie volunteers for us. She sits at tables for me at events like this. You could do presentations if you're comfortable talking in front of people. If you want to volunteer or learn more, you can call me. I think my card is in each of these folders. You can call me and I can put you in touch with Allie. And like I said, it can be something as simple as sitting at a table at a health fair and just giving information about Senior Medicare Patrol, or it could be helping us at the shred events and passing out information there. And then this number is all over everything in there. So AgeOptions is the Illinois Senior Medicare Patrol Oversight Agency. Any questions for me? Because that's a lot.
I just had something that the bank told me the other day when I was in there. They said whenever you do write a check, make sure you do it with a gel pen, because their branches have been having a lot of them where they've been like wiping them out and redoing them.
Yeah, rewriting amounts or something like that.
I didn't know that before, and she said, oh yeah, make sure you use a gel pen.
Yeah. So, smart. Yes?
I have, I guess, a comment, not a question.
Sure.
I believe everything I read, naturally. Like everybody
Me too.
else. No, but I read about 2 years ago, these outfits that are scamming people, they get fined, and they just keep doing it. And the reason they keep doing it is because of how much money they make.
Absolutely.
You know, they hundreds of thousands of dollars. Instead of putting the SOBs in prison, in jail time, it's not going to stop.
Right. So I always tell people, if the scammers weren't good at their job, they would stop doing it because they wouldn't be making any money. They are making billions of dollars every year. So yeah, I mean, if they get fined $10,000, so what? I'm going to make that back in an hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we have to be vigilant and protect our information. Yes.
A friend of ours, he wanted to share something with us to make sure that we didn't do the same thing he did. He wanted to mail something local, and it was a small check he was making out for it, and he put it in his mailbox with a flag up. Somebody got in there, and he didn't realize it until the $700 that was sent was then $1,700, which goes along with what my friend said here, because they didn't use the gel pen. And he said he went to the police department, he did everything, and it amazed him that someone was able to cash that check the way that was, because they wouldn't have had
the ID or whatever
Right.
part. But he's the same one that said years ago, whenever Schnook started their rewards program, it got hacked into. And his wife's Social Security number was compromised. How did they find out that it was compromised? Well, when they went to go ahead and get their taxes figured, they were owed money back, and somebody already filed that money.
Under their name. Yep.
So they got the PIN numbers. My husband and I went to the tax assistance center, because our number's been compromised through HSHS, and they, as you said, they send us every year those 6-digit numbers to use for that. It's awful, because everywhere you look, somebody's.
That's it. I mean, it's
cheating.
It's kind of depressing, actually,
Well,
because
and
it doesn't matter where you go, and it's
situation.
everywhere. It's so prevalent, and that's why we do these presentations, to just try and bring it more to the forefront and share these stories, because, I mean, it's been huge that people have been filing under other people's Social Security numbers. I have a friend whose daughter, it happened to her, and she still has to file paper tax returns every year for like so many years. I want to say it was like 5. For the next 5 years, she has to file paper tax returns, because that way they can't do it again online for her. But I mean, they paid out her return, and do you get that back? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on how well you can fight it.
Well, and when you were, pardon me for being mouthy, but
No, you're fine.
When you were talking about, your scam calls, well, okay, so we have cell phones, of course, but we kept our landline number, because that's the only number my parents, and we just kept it. So when you get caller ID, it said clothing pickup. I thought, clothing pickup, my foot. They never take that off, but it's like you said, they keep running through their little 800 numbers. They just keep, it's a robocall type of thing.
So we had a landline until about 4 years ago. My kids were at home, and we didn't allow our kids to have cell phones until they were in high school.
Yes.
And I just got lazy. My son, when he finally went to college, I finally decided, okay, I'm going to get rid of the landline now. But it got to a point where the only things we were getting were scam calls or political calls. I got a phone call from myself. My landline called me one day. I was like, what is going on? It was kind of one of those, I also had one, and this one was really terrifying. It said incoming baby. It was like, no, we're not answering that call. But I mean, we would get these scam calls all the time. It was that or political calls. That was all we ever got on that landline. So we finally just said, we're done. Yes, baby.
I mean, I personally know I get calls from, I'm a 314 number, and I know I get calls with 314 area code, because I think they'll think it's a relative or something like that. So you're more likely to answer it, so you still have to be
I get 618
cautious.
scam calls all the time, and if I don't answer it, guess what? They don't leave a message. So I know that it's not anybody that really needed me. But like I said, I got the phone call from my own house, and I was homesick that day, and it was like one of those scary movies that, the call's coming from within your house. Yeah, it's coming from the same number. It can come from numbers that you recognize. Any other questions?
Can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
About the Ameren bills?
Sure.
And it was more prevalent a couple years ago, but Ameren will always deliver your electricity, but doesn't necessarily supply it. So you can have, they call it ARIES, alternate retail electric suppliers. And on the third page of your Ameren bill, in the middle, it'll say Ameren Electric. And they work real hard trying to make the bill easy to understand, but it's still not if you don't work at Ameren. And but your delivery is Ameren, but your supplier can be somebody else. Well, what they were doing was going door to door, saying they were Ameren. They'd have a copy of an Ameren bill, and it was somebody. So, and then what they do is they offer you a great rate for the first 3 months, and they may mention that, they may not. My own brother called and said, hey, I just got 7 cents a kilowatt for 15 months. I said, no way. There's no way you did that lower than Ameren's rate. There's no way. He goes, yes, I am. He's not a dumb guy. And I was like, okay, I'm telling you, I'll bet you lunch you didn't get that. So lo and behold, his electric charges a month were $23. They were adding an additional $29 a month in administration fee that they didn't tell him about, and it took them 3 months to get that off.
So in this area, a lot of times the cities are doing
municipal aggregation.
So a lot of you are probably signed up with Home Field, whether or not you realize it. They'll send you an opt-out card that if you fill out, then you can get out of it. But if you don't fill out that opt-out card, then you have to call them. and try and get out of it. I had this problem with Constellation a few years ago. It took 3 billing cycles for me to get out of Constellation, and they were charging me a lot more than Ameren did. There are about, because LifeLock gives us a list every once in a while, there are at least 75 different energy suppliers for this area alone, just in St. Clair County. And some of them would offer you, we'll give it to you at this lower rate, and they'll lock you into that agreement for a year, but they only guarantee it for 3 months. Or we'll give you a $100 gift card. That was a big one a few years ago too. We'll give you a $100 gift card. Well, that $100 was gone in the first month that you were getting their rates. So.
Well, my daughter's a nurse practitioner. One of her nurses went to Walmart and got a $25 gift card at Walmart, and signed up and got home, and her husband reads the paper and says, we'll be paying $600 more a year. So she calls the company and they say, well, we want our gift card back. She said, I just spent it at Walmart. You gave it to me first and I spent it. So they wanted her to pay the $25 back. But I've got 10 grandkids, and I went into Walmart, and this girl from NRG has an Ameren bill laminated and says, can I talk to you about are you an Ameren customer? I said, yeah. And I mean, my blood pressure starts. I'm a really nice, easygoing person. And she said, well, we could lower your rate. And I said, you know what? Your company is a scam. You have offer this rate for 3 months, and then and people don't know. We were finding people who, when Ameren's rate was 8 cents a kilowatt hour, they were paying 29 cents a kilowatt hour. So they need energy assistance from us, but they're paying 2, 3, 4 times more than they needed to be paying.
And I will say that is one of the things that we look at when people come in and do energy assistance with us, is if your bill is really high, are you on one of these energy suppliers?
Yes.
And we will tell them, get off of it.
Yeah. And then, and so the lady's talking, and she said, well, I'm a customer. And I said, of course you are, because you know that after 3 months you need to check your bill and then find out what's really going on. And I keep getting louder and louder, and I say, it's a shame. And what you do to seniors, it is criminal. It's absolutely criminal. And then I walk away, and my grandson said, man, I've never seen you like that. But it's horrible what they do. And then one more thing is, if you need a new furnace or air conditioner or any of that, Ameren has AmerenIllinoisSavings.com. And they have great programs for low and moderate income customers that you can pay much, much less than if you went to replace that stuff yourself. So that's just a side note. So I'm going to have this paper. If you want to leave your name and your phone number, then I'll call you. It'll come from 888-690-5700. But I can leave a message, and then I'll need your Ameren account number and the name on your account, and I can help you.
Well, and I hope you guys got good information today. Some of it may have been familiar, some of it may not have. But it's good, even if it's just a refresher, it's good to have that in the front of your brain. And by coming to things like this, you're protecting yourself, and you can tell other people and protect them as well. I did leave some surveys with all of you. If you don't mind filling it out, that would be great. Kind of gives me an idea of what more you want to hear from me, or if there's something different you'd like to hear. And you can just leave those on the table and look at those up. Yes?
I got a question.
Sure.
Identity theft. Do you have any thoughts on the LifeLock and programs like that?
So yeah, I mean, they're good programs, because not only do they protect your identity, you are paying for it though.
Right.
So it's sometimes people can afford that, sometimes people can't, but they also insure you. They're reputable companies. LifeLock in particular is a reputable company, but like I said, some people can afford to pay that, some people can't. And yeah, I think they insure you up to I want to say it's like $1 million. You can get an outrageous amount of insurance on your identity.
We also block email.
Oh yeah,
email.
Yeah, I do the same too.
Yeah.
Or you can block texts.
It takes a while, but it helps.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, when you unsubscribe to an email, a lot of these places will sell your email to other places, so then you start getting random ones from other places. But yeah, I block emails all the time too, and text messages.
It's worth taking the time.
It is.
Yes? I have caller ID, and so, it always comes up who it is. So one day I was waiting for a call from Walgreens, okay? So all of a sudden the phone rings, and it says Walgreens. So I figured it really was Walgreens. So I answer the phone, and the guy's, he's saying, oh, ma'am, he goes, we just need to go over your information real quick, and I said, oh, okay. He goes, now, who is your doctor? So I told him, and he goes, okay, now we need that red, white, and blue card.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I go, oh, no. He goes, oh, well, I just need to double check this. I said, no, I said, you know what, I'll be at Walgreens in a couple minutes.
Right.
And I did, oh, no, don't go to Walgreens.
Well, here's the thing.
So that's what but how does it come up Walgreens though when
Because
it's not really?
they spoof those numbers.
Oh,
It's
do they?
the same way that the Amazon email comes up and looks like it's from Amazon. They spoof that icon and it looks absolutely legit.
Because usually I don't very rarely answer, but like I said, I was
Here's
waiting
the
for a
thing.
call that day and it was just like, oh, there they are.
Good that you grabbed that because guess what? The red, white, and blue card doesn't cover prescriptions. So it's not going to cover prescriptions at all. So
So I guess they would have sold your Medicare number to somebody to get.
Durable medical equipment or
whatever.
When you mentioned your mom, and we're really protective of our moms, and she was very conservative person and just always checked things out. So, you know, there's Illinois American Water, and there's Illinois American Resources, right? And the logos are the same, but they're not. And so how I came to find out about them, she thought that the card that came was them. She sent that card in, and very quietly, they were deducting from her checking account. She had no idea. And when I saw that on there, I thought, Mom, what is this? What? You know, I said, don't beat yourself up. We'll find out. And the ones that they could, they deducted everything they possibly could out of her account. And that was just me as her daughter.
Just watching,
And another thing, because we know our Social Security numbers have been compromised with HSHS, we called the bank and told them about it. And we said, isn't there something that you can do that's like an extra layer of checking to see what it is? And they said, give us some sort of a hint that we have to ask for, and then tell us what you want that answer to be. And I didn't realize they did that, but I'm sure glad they do.
Security question, just an additional security question. And something that only you know, not something that like, you know, my first pet. I have 5 brothers and sisters. Any one of them knows who my first pet was, so, and some of them I would trust with my money, some of them I wouldn't. So it's important that it's something that you know, they don't.